Hello, I'm Sora Luxon, and this is Magic Lesson number 84. Planetary attributes, attributes of the planets refresher course, new solar cycle, new alchemical planetary attributes video. Before anything, I have to take a moment to say thank you to everyone who sent blessings and good tidings, such wonderful intentions in emails and messages through Facebook, through the little Etsy shop, through Instagram. Just so many truly uplifting, kind, generous of spirit messages wishing me a good year, a good cycle. It's an honor to be among you, to stand, or rather, in this moment, sit in awe of your graces, of your overwhelming strengths, and our capacity for shared evolution, shared growth. It's a privilege to be with you here, now, and I'm very aware of it. So many blessings of the new cycle to each and every one of you. May we know our power and our humility. May we ever thrive, in the healing light we all seek greater access to. And to keep all in balance, may we struggle. May we seek to outgrow even the best current versions of ourselves. To find ourselves tomorrow, may we be called on to make sacrifices, to adapt, to persevere, when perhaps those nearest us need us to. Ever ready beacons on the darkest hillsides, eternal yet ever transient and transforming luminaries, never alone, always ready to face even that greatest adversary, the person in the mirror, right? And the battles to be fought there, when we can risk a self-assessment to improve. May we come to know ourselves, despite the true arduous nature of that task that we've been called to do. May we learn from every failure this cycle, this year, this solar cycle. May we share in the joy of our brothers, every success. For when we love and propel each other, we give those around us permission to do the same. I love you, and I am so thankful for all of you, and to be here with you now, at the same time, passing ideas, sharing experiences. So many blessings to you in this new cycle, fellow students of the great work, fellow truth seekers. All of that being said, now that I'm sitting here almost in tears, right? But I grounded this morning, so there's emotional harmony and balance. Who remembers their planetary symbols? That's what this little video is going to be about. The scientific glyphs, the actual icons of each planet. And I'll have to point out, when I go to put the slides in this video for this little podcasty recording, they might not be like in order. I might be talking about the sun and there might be a slide of Mercury. So keep that in mind, that the slides don't always necessarily, the pictures and the videos don't always necessarily directly correspond to what I'm saying. Anyway, you must know some of them. Even if you think you don't, you probably do. It's a lot like the zodiac. Even when we think we don't know these things, it's already there inside of our subconscious because cultural dominance has made that a part of our lives. At least most people know their own prominent planetary auspice sign, whether or not they realize it. Hopefully, if you've been doing magic, working with the occult, following the great path for some time, by now you should really know all of the planet symbols. Sun, circle with a dot in the middle, the microcosm and macrocosm, that great pointillism source and boundary line. Moon, the beautiful crescent of Neith, right? Egyptian, of Hecate, very important to the witches out there, of Minerva, both sides of the powerful goddess, right? And the triple moon in her youthful and crone forms, that crescent moon symbol of the subconscious feminine, intuitive, imagination, DreamWorks Studios. So then you have my favorite, Mercury, sacred monad hieroglyphica, right? Tripartite amalgam of the great alchemical symbols of the great three, moon, circling cross, and convergence. And no, if any, some of these should be ringing a bell. And I'll try to find a slide of the actual symbol to put in the video as well, hopefully near the beginning. So that should help kind of get the juices flowing. These are deeply important to magic, these symbols. And the planetary aspects, the attributes, the metal attributes specifically, what we're going to be discussing in this video, that's important as well in magic and in magic's evolution within you. So the metal attributes are easier to recall and make use of very readily once you have the symbols on lock in your memory palace. So let's go over them. Mercury, quicksilver, so that jumpy, gloriously reflective substance found in thermostats the world over. You have true silver, that's the moon, metal attribute to the moon, a powerful metal with properties of great significance. You have valued still culturally in trade, as is gold. Gold never loses its value. So the sun is gold. Endless attributes there, never tarnishing, ever capable of deflecting solar radiative energies because it is of the soul of solar. Simply amazing. Not horrible as jewelry if you're into that sort of thing. Gold, the sun, our goal, to refine away the dross and revelation of our own inner sought to be perfectible state. Gold is important in alchemy, and it's important to know it's the metal attribute of the sun in occulted magics. You have the copper of Venus, the brass of Venus, that pink heart chakra of Aphrodite and affections, of the circulatory system. Also notably, a green chakra in many traditions. Just as copper oxidizes to green, growing ever more beautiful, that green pulse of life, verdance on Terra, on Earth. Earth may be the blue marble to astronauts, but down here, we certainly know Gaia for her greens. So you have copper, Venus, green. The green lion changes. Saturn, lead. Metal attribute, lead. Wondrous for guarding against all manner of histrionic sprites, daemons, would-be troublemakers. Why? It limits, it sets boundaries. Lead, Saturn, death, heavy, carries the authority of limits, of time. Lead in prison bars, to, believe it or not, keep the evil of the wrongdoer in the cell. Lead in cemetery fences, to keep bad spirits out, to keep the bad from interfering with the sanctified corpses and energies of those buried within the lead-lined gates of a sanctified cemetery. Lead in any weapon that needs to have an effect on, say, fairies, brownies, etc., because it is the only element they cannot ignore, cannot turn into chaos, and therefore automatically minimize the effects of. Get the lead out. That's common parlance. Speed up because you're heavy, you're lead, you're limited. Lead, Saturn, is limitation. Lead is one of the oldest metals that we as humans learned to make use of. It's also very damaging if we ingest too much of it. Heavy metal music, hard, that fist of brunt, demanding force, acknowledging of death, of ends boundaries set on all things. That's heavy metal rock music. It's named for lead. Real magic is everywhere once you know how to look. So look to the great table of elements, again, begun by alchemists who now call themselves scientists, enlarged by modern day alchemists under the label of scientifics. That much of the table you can see when you run a Google search. Anyway, like many things, it's a larger horizon than most are prepared to absorb. But anyway, to get back to the point, the periodic table, right? Table of the elements. Lead, the element, all the chaotic radioactive elements have to and do remain above. If you look at the table, that's just how it is. Because the radioactive elements, as they decay, death, putrefaction, lead, as they decay, they become, guess what? Lead. Stable again. Limited authority, boundary line, absolute equilibriums, absolute timelines. Lead, the hourglass sat beside the skull in momenti mori, unnegotiable arts. The green lion may change, but the black of lead, the black dragon of death, never does. All things must one day decay. Then you have Mars, right? Red, war, violence, aggression. So what metal attribute are we looking at here? The forceful, engaging, driving masculine energy. Half of all ritual invocation depends on Mars, on those masculine energies. The iron sword. Just Google iron metal. Of the seven main metals, it's the one that what? Burns. It can be heated. Yes. Raging hot as volcanoes forge. As blazing as, Hephaestus beating iron into submission and creating a sword from it. Mars looks red, appears like rust. Why? Why does the red planet Mars, look red? Iron. Yeah. So the attribute of iron that's given to Mars is the red planet, it's iron. And it's the dirt of the red planet. Iron is in the rocks, the dust, the very makeup of the planet Mars. And because of iron oxidization, iron oxide, it looks red. It looks the red of, fire, pyre, sanguine blood. How did they know, right? Fire and blood. The ancient Greeks, the Syrians, the Hermeticists, the Gnostics, the Egyptians, they knew. Mars, iron attribute. And then there's Jupiter. So we think big, we think beautiful, we think loud, jovial, expansive. Metal attributed to this planet in occult magics. Attributed. So what's the metal attribute? Believe it or not, tin. And this tends to be one of the lesser known ones. Jupiter preserves as well as prospers. So when we think of Jupiter, we're not just thinking of luck and prosperity, we're also thinking of preservation, because the preservation of things allows us to also make gains. So just like tin is used to preserve food, that could help. When we can food, when we create preserves, still to this day, we use tin. It's used for preservation purposes. Jupiter, the mighty, right, throws lightning, right, flashing, that bright blue, silver, electrifying force color, so much like the flash of tin. Hold up a piece of tinfoil to the sunlight, crinkle it up, move it around. You're going to see that bright blue, silver flash of energy. Jove's metal is the metal that was used for luck in pewter steins, which are tin mixed originally with lead, not so much now, but every sip of the pewter, of the tin in the stein, was an enchantment of long life and luck. Again, preservation of from aging, preservation of joys and abundance, stimulation, expansiveness. Just as tin can be made very thin, so wide, beaten into so many useful forms so easily and effectively, but it's still strong, effortlessly strong. So when you think largest planet in our little solar system, not including the star Sol, because the sun is not actually a planet, when you bring the silver of the moon and the vinegars of the earth together, you get what? Tin, Jupiter. Look to the planet symbol. Look to the planetary symbol of Jupiter. Look to see. Some secrets delight in being found by the worthy. So, and it, once seen, bring wondrous changes to our perceptions. So in Jupiter, you have the moon's intuition conjoining with Earth's material cross matter, right? And that brings intuition plus matter, knowledge, wisdom, expansion, the signs of Jupiter's sign. Again, metal attribute there, tin. So that's the alchemical, the metal attributes alchemically of the planets and occulted magics. Important little refresher to bring to our awareness as this new cycle begins anew for all of us. Until next time.